There's a software engineer in Dallas making $120,000 a year. He lives in a nice apartment. He drives a new SUV. He takes weekend trips. He owns the latest iPhone. On paper, he looks wealthy. But if his car breaks down tomorrow and the repair bill is $3,000, he may have to borrow money to pay for it. This is not a rare case. Recent surveys show that many Americans earning six figures still live paycheck to paycheck. Read that again. People making over $100,000 a year are often spending almost every dollar they earn. The assumption most people carry is simple. Earn more money and your money problems disappear. But the data tells a very different story. For millions of people, a bigger paycheck does not create wealth. It creates the appearance of wealth. This is called the lifestyle expansion trap, and it is quietly keeping people broke. 40 years ago, a paycheck often did much more than it does today. A middle-class family could buy a home, raise children, save money, and still have room in the budget for surprises. Today, many households bring in over $100,000 a year and still feel stressed about money. Yes, inflation is part of the story. But inflation alone cannot explain why two people earning the same income can end up in completely different financial situations. One builds wealth year after year. The other stays stuck, no matter how many raises they get. The difference is usually not one huge mistake. It is a series of small daily habits. Habits that seem harmless. Habits repeated over and over again. And those habits may be quietly making you poor without you even noticing. Section 1. The first habit is so common that most people never see it as a problem. In fact, it often feels like success. You get a raise at work. A few months later, you move into a bigger apartment. Then you upgrade your car. Then you add a few new subscriptions. A better phone plan, another streaming service, a gym membership you rarely use. Nothing seems dangerous on its own. But this is where the first domino falls. Most people think a raise increases their wealth. What often happens is that a raise increases their spending. Imagine someone earning $60,000 a year. They get a raise and start earning $70,000. That extra $10,000 should make them richer. Instead, they move into an apartment that costs $300 more each month. They buy a car with a payment that is $250 higher. They add a few new monthly bills. Suddenly, the entire raise is gone. Their income went up, but their financial position stayed exactly the same. Then another raise comes, and the cycle repeats. A bigger paycheck leads to a bigger lifestyle. A bigger lifestyle creates bigger monthly bills, and bigger monthly bills demand an even bigger paycheck. The trap becomes invisible because everything looks enough from the outside. The apartment looks nicer. The car looks newer. Life looks better. But wealth is not what people see. Wealth is what you keep. Every time a raise becomes a permanent expense, you lose the chance to build lasting financial strength. That money could have gone into savings. It could have been invested. It could have been building a safety net for the future. Instead, it gets locked into bills that arrive every month, whether you feel rich or not. This is why some people earn twice as much as they did 10 years ago, but still feel stressed about money. Their income grew, their lifestyle grew with it, and every dollar that could have built wealth was sent somewhere else. The lifestyle expansion trap does not happen all at once. It happens one upgrade at a time, one bigger payment, one new subscription, one small decision that feels harmless. Until one day you realize your paycheck got larger, but your freedom never did. Section 2. The second habit is closely connected to the first one, and it starts with a simple question. Years ago, people often asked, "Can I afford this?" Today, many people ask a different question. Can I afford the payment? At first, those questions sound almost the same, but they lead to very different outcomes. Imagine a new phone costs $200. A person might look at that price and decide it is too expensive. But what happens if the store says, just pay $40 a month? Suddenly, the phone feels affordable. The same thing happens with cars, furniture, appliances, vacations, and even everyday purchases. Instead of looking at the total cost, people focus only on the monthly payment. This is the financing culture trap. The payment looks small, the commitment is not. A $40 phone payment may not seem like much, neither does a $25 streaming package. or a $60 furniture payment, or a $70 fitness membership. Each one feels harmless on its own. But money does not leave your life one bill at a time. It leaves all at once. The problem begins when these payments start stacking on top of each other. $40 here, $70 there, another 50 somewhere else. Before long, hundreds of dollars each month are already spoken for before your paycheck arrives. That money belongs to past decisions, not your future goals. And every new payment quietly claims a piece of your future income. This creates a hidden problem. Your paycheck may grow over time, but so do your obligations. The more payments you carry, the less freedom you have. You work hard for a raise, but part of that raise is already promised to bills you agreed to months or years ago. This is why many people feel trapped even when they earn good money. Their income is not truly theirs. A large part of it has been pre-spent. One payment at a time. The companies offering these deals understand something important. Most people pay attention to monthly pain, not total cost. That is why payments are often advertised bigger than prices. Because a payment feels small, a total cost feels real. And when you build a life around monthly payments instead of ownership, you slowly hand away more and more of tomorrow's paycheck, not in one big decision, but through dozens of small ones that seem completely normal. Section 3. The third habit is harder to spot because it does not feel like a money problem. It feels like a reward. You have a stressful day at work, so you order food instead of cooking. You feel bored, so you buy something online. You feel tired, so you grab a coffee and a snack on the way home. None of these decisions seem important. In fact, they often feel deserved. And that is exactly why they are so powerful. Many people think they spend money because they need something, but often they spend money because they want a feeling, a small burst of excitement, a little comfort, a quick escape from stress. That feeling comes from a chemical in the brain called dopamine. It is the same reason people enjoy getting likes on social media or opening a package that just arrived at their door. The purchase creates a moment of pleasure. The problem is that the feeling does not last very long. So the brain starts looking for the next one. Another delivery order, another online purchase, another small treat. Over time, spending becomes a habit, not because the items have value, but because the feeling does. This is where small purchases become dangerous, not because they are large, because they are repeated. Imagine someone spends $15 a day on food delivery fees, extra snacks, and impulse purchases. $15 does not sound like much. Most people would barely notice it. But over 1 month, that is about $450. Over 1 year, that becomes $5,400. That is enough to start an emergency fund, enough to pay down debt, enough to begin investing. Instead, it disappears one small purchase at a time. The real danger is that these transactions never feel serious. Nobody wakes up and decides to waste thousands of dollars. They simply make dozens of tiny decisions that seem harmless in the moment. A few dollars here, a few dollars there. And because each purchase is small, the brain treats it as unimportant. But your bank account sees the total. This is why some people work harder every year yet never move ahead financially. Their money is leaking away through hundreds of small emotional purchases. Not because they are careless, not because they are bad with money, but because they are using spending to solve feelings that money was never meant to fix. And when comfort becomes a daily purchase, wealth slowly slips away without making a sound. Section 4. The fourth habit is not something people do, it is something they fail to do. And it may be the most expensive habit on this list. Most people save money the same way. They pay their bills. They spend what they need. They buy a few things they want. And then they tell themselves they will save whatever is left over. The problem is that there is usually nothing left over. Every dollar finds somewhere to go. That is why one of the oldest money rules is also one of the most powerful. Pay yourself first, not last, first. This means saving money before you have a chance to spend it. The easiest way to do this is through automation. When part of your paycheck moves directly into savings or investments, you never have to make the decision later. The money is already gone, and that matters because willpower is weak. Every day, spending decisions compete with saving decisions. A new pair of shoes, a dinner out, a weekend trip. a sale that seems too good to miss. In that battle, saving often loses, not because people are lazy, but because spending gives an immediate reward. Saving gives a future reward. And the brain usually chooses what feels good right now. Automation removes that choice. It turns saving into a system instead of a promise. And small amounts can create surprisingly large results. Imagine two people. The first person saves nothing for years and waits until they feel ready. The second person automatically invests $10 a day. $10 does not sound life-changing. It is less than many people spend on lunch. But over 1 year, that becomes about $3,650. After 5 years, it becomes more than $18,000 before any growth is added. And if that money stays invested, it can continue growing on its own. That is the power of compounding. Money starts earning money, then that new money starts earning money too. The process is slow at first, almost boring. But wealth is often built through boring systems, not exciting decisions. The sad truth is that many people spend years searching for the perfect investment while never building the habit that matters most: consistent saving. Because the biggest difference between people who build wealth and people who do not is often very simple. One group saves first and spends what is left. The other group spends first and hopes something is left to save. And hope is a very weak financial plan. Section 5. To see how these habits work together, let's meet Daniel. Daniel is 34 years old. He works as a sales manager. He earns $95,000 a year. From the outside, his life looks successful. He rents a modern apartment. He drives a newer SUV. He takes a few trips each year, and he rarely says no to things he wants. But behind the scenes, the numbers tell a different story. Daniel has $18,000 in car debt, about $7,000 on credit cards, and only $1,500 in savings. If he lost his job tomorrow, he would have a serious problem. Now, look at where his money goes. His apartment costs $2,000 each month. His car payment is $550. Insurance, subscriptions, phone plans, and other monthly bills take several hundred more. He orders food multiple times each week. He makes small online purchases when he feels stressed or bored. And even though he has a good income, he saves only when there is money left at the end of the month. Most months there isn't. What happened? The first habit showed up when his income grew. Each raise led to a nicer lifestyle, a better apartment, a better vehicle, more monthly expenses. The second habit appeared when he started focusing on payments instead of prices. The monthly costs seemed affordable, but together they took a large share of his income. The third habit drained money little by little. Food delivery, impulse purchases, small rewards after long days. None of them looked dangerous, but together they added up to thousands of dollars every year. The fourth habit may have hurt him the most. He never automated his savings. He planned to save. He wanted to save. But wanting and doing are not the same thing. Year after year, spending came first and saving came second, and saving almost always lost. The important thing to understand is this: Daniel is not stupid. He is not lazy. And he is not bad with money. The system around him is designed to reward consumption and punish intentionality. Every day, companies compete for his attention. They want him to upgrade, finance, subscribe, order, buy. Very few people are encouraging him to save, invest, and wait. That is why so many smart and hardworking people end up stuck, not because they lack income, but because small habits quietly pull their money in the wrong direction year after year. Section 6. At this point, many people will have the same thought. If I made more money, everything would be fixed. It sounds reasonable, and to be fair, there is some truth in it. Higher income does help. A person earning $100,000 has more options than someone earning $40,000. A larger paycheck can make saving easier. It can reduce financial stress, and it can create opportunities that were not possible before. But there is a problem with this idea. If income alone created wealth, then every high earner would be financially secure. And we know that is not true. Look around. There are people earning six figures who still worry about money every month. Some have large car payments, large house payments, large credit card balances, and very little saved for emergencies. Their income is high. Their stress is high too. Now compare them to someone else. Imagine people earning the same salary. The first person gets a raise and immediately upgrades their lifestyle. The second person gets a raise and increases their savings. 10 years later, their lives can look completely different. Not because one earned more, because one kept more. This is the difference between wealthy accumulators and wealthy spenders. Wealthy spenders use extra income to buy a bigger lifestyle, a nicer car, a bigger home, more things. Their success is easy to see, but it is often expensive to maintain. Wealthy accumulators think differently. When more money comes in, they save and invest a large part of it. They still enjoy life, but they do not feel pressure to spend every dollar they earn. Their success is harder to see, but it becomes much harder to take away. The truth is that income can solve many problems, but it cannot solve habits. A person who spends 100% of a $50,000 income will often spend 100% of a $100,000 income too. The numbers get bigger. The pattern stays the same. That is why waiting for a larger paycheck is not a financial plan. Without better habits, more income often becomes more spending, and more spending creates more pressure. The goal is not simply to earn more. The goal is to create a gap between what you earn and what you spend, because that gap is where wealth lives. And no matter how large your paycheck becomes, wealth cannot grow if that gap never exists. Section 7. The final three habits are quieter than the others. They do not show up on a bank statement as clearly, but over time, they can do just as much damage. The first is constant comparison. Today, people can see the lives of hundreds of others every day. A friend buys a new car. Someone posts photos from a vacation. A coworker shows off a new home. And without even noticing, a dangerous thought begins to grow. If they have it, maybe I should have it too. Comparison changes the way people spend. They stop buying things because they need them. They start buying things to keep up. The problem is that there will always be someone with more. A bigger house, a nicer car, a better vacation. The race never ends, and neither does the spending. The sixth habit is treating investing as optional. Many people see investing as something they will do after they become wealthy, but backwards. Investing is often how people become wealthy in the first place. When investing feels optional, it gets pushed aside. There is always another bill, another purchase, another reason to wait. Years pass, and the money never gets a chance to grow. The seventh habit is delaying financial decisions until later. Later, I will start saving. Later, I will invest. Later, I will pay off my debt. Later, I will create a plan. The problem is that later has a way of turning into years, and time is one of the most powerful tools in building wealth. Every year spent waiting is a year that cannot be recovered. What makes these habits so dangerous is how they work together. Comparison creates the desire to spend. Spending leaves less money available for investing. A lack of investing makes people feel behind. Feeling behind makes them delay action even longer. Then the cycle repeats. One habit feeds the next, like a row of falling dominoes. At first, the damage is hard to see. Life looks normal. The bills get paid. The paychecks keep coming. But underneath the surface, financial strength grows weaker. Savings stay small. Investments stay small. Options become limited. And years later, many people wonder why they feel financially fragile despite working so hard. The answer is often not one major mistake. It is a chain of small habits that quietly reinforced each other for years. And the longer that chain grows, the harder it becomes to break. Section 8. At this point, you may be expecting a big solution, a secret strategy, a perfect side hustle, a stock that will make you rich overnight. But that is not how wealth usually works. The truth is much less exciting and much more effective. There is no miracle solution. There is no financial shortcut. And there is no lottery ticket investment that can replace good habits. Most people who build lasting wealth follow a few simple rules for a very long time. The first rule is to save at least 15 to 20% of your income whenever possible, not what is left over at the end of the month. A planned amount that comes first. The second rule is to avoid financing luxuries that lose value over time. A car may be useful. A phone may be useful. But borrowing money for things that become less valuable each year can quietly slow down your financial progress. The third rule is to automate investing immediately after payday. Do not wait until the end of the month. Do not trust yourself to remember. Move the money before you have the chance to spend it. This turns wealth building into a system instead of a decision. The fourth rule is to track your net worth once every month. Your net worth is what you own minus what you owe. Many people track their income. Many people track their spending. Very few track whether they are actually becoming wealthier. A monthly check helps you see if you are moving forward or standing still. None of these rules are exciting. In fact, they are almost boring, and that is exactly the point. Wealth usually grows slowly and quietly. It does not arrive with flashing lights. It does not show up in a single weekend. It grows through small actions repeated month after month and year after year. While other people chase the next big thing, wealthy people often focus on simple habits that work. Saving, investing, avoiding unnecessary debt, tracking progress. The process can feel slow at first, sometimes painfully slow, but slow progress is still progress. And one day, the habits that seem small begin to produce results that look anything but small. That is when people call it luck, even though it was really consistency all along. Close. When people struggle with money, they often look for one big reason. They blame a bad investment, a poor job choice, a weak economy, or a paycheck that is not large enough. Sometimes those things matter, but most people do not become poor because of one huge mistake. They become poor because small daily habits quietly move money away from wealth building and toward consumption. A bigger apartment here, a monthly payment there, a few impulse purchases, a decision to save later instead of today. None of these choices seem dangerous on their own. That is what makes them so powerful. The danger is not one catastrophic decision. It is thousands of invisible decisions that feel harmless in the moment. A few dollars today, a few dollars tomorrow, a few dollars the next day. Over time, those choices create a direction, and direction matters more than speed. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to earn a six-figure income. And you do not need to find some secret trick that nobody else knows. What matters is understanding where your money is going and making sure more of it is working for your future instead of disappearing into habits that do not serve you. Because wealth is rarely built in a single moment. It is built through small actions repeated again and again. The same way financial stress is built, one habit at a time. The good news is that habits can change. And when habits change, financial outcomes can change too. So the next time you reach for your wallet, click the buy button, or tell yourself that you will start saving, remember this. Your future is being shaped right now, not by one giant decision, but by the small choices you repeat every day. Your future isn't being determined by the biggest purchase you'll ever make. It's being determined by what you repeatedly do before lunch every single day.